Hello, hello. We're back. Dad Sport Ball Podcast coming at you on YouTube. We are back. I keep on wanting to say live, but we're not live anymore. We will figure that out. I promise. I promise. We'll figure that out.
One day we'll be back.
Yeah, I do want to do. One of those like live casts where we are like watching a game or something, and we can like do commentary and whatnot. That was pretty fun.
Once we're all together, we can do it so easily without having to display the game that we're not allowed to display.
True. For anyone who doesn't know, yeah, we'll be together again, April 30th. So we'll be in studio.
Twitch is fastest.
Excuse you?
That's what we learned. Twitch is fascist, and they've booted us.
Oh, they're fascist. I thought you said they're the fastest. I was like, I guess they're pretty fast.
They're fast.
Yeah, they banned us. They suspended our account because we were like, just what are we doing? Like live streaming a game? Like
you can't own a game.
Yeah, true,
man.
True.
Like pirates or something.
True, they're pirates. So yeah, we got a short episode here. So we're just gonna go over a few the like quarterback carousel in the NFL, and then we'll talk about some baseball rule changes that are coming up in the next season. And then yeah, hopefully we'll be on maybe this weekend for the next episode. So keep an eye out for that. So yeah, first order of business. Matt Ryan. This happened today.
Matty Ice.
Yeah, Matt Ryan got traded to the Colts for, what was it, a third-round pick?
Third-round pick, straight up.
And then the Falcons, like, immediately signed Marcus Mariota to a 2-year contract. So we'll see how that goes. Marcus Mariota was on the Raiders, and he was mostly just used, like, in what is the Wildcat formation, where he basically is just like hike it to the quarterback, and this dude's probably gonna run, maybe throw it, but so that's where they used him. So I'd be interested to see him actually like throwing the ball. But
Mariota is the only player in NFL history to throw and catch the same touchdown pass. Fun fact for you right there.
They tipped?
Yeah, he threw a ball that was tipped by a defender, and then he caught it for the touchdown.
Wow,
that's amazing.
That's big time for Mariota fantasy owners right there.
That's what the Falcons are looking for. They're looking for.
That's a dual threat quarterback.
Yeah, no, they're just gonna start getting rid of their receivers. Just have Marcus Mariota out there, throwing to himself.
I was talking to a buddy of mine at work right when the news hit that they traded away Matty Ice, and it was like, who are they going to play at QB? And I was like, honestly, probably Cordero Patterson. they already had him at running back and safety. Why not do quarterback also?
And wide receiver, yeah. Pick off returner, why not?
Right, yeah, exactly.
He's actually a free agent. They might not keep him.
Yeah.
I don't know how you don't keep a guy that like.
Oh, so much value. He killed it in the backfield this season.
At every position, but.
Yeah.
We'll see.
But Mariota, like.
Now he's in. He's on the Colts. Cole, you and I had dissenting opinions here. I think this is a great move by the Colts. You did not think so at all.
I get it because the Colts are in like a win now mentality. You know, they have a decent defense. They have a arguably the second best running game, maybe the third best if you count Cleveland, and Jonathan Taylor. So I get that. I just feel like they keep on doing this. Like they in themselves have been a QB carousel like since Andrew Luck is the last time they had stability at the quarterback position. And, you know, I've reading this article and, you know, watched some stuff, and people are like, oh, well, Phillip Rivers, you know, he was basically the last year of his career, went on the Colts last season and did decently well. So people are like, oh, Matt Ryan's like similar QB, stands in the pocket, takes a few steps. So I get that. I just feel like, man, Matt Ryan is 36 years old. A lot of their offensive players are a lot younger. So it's like, I just feel like they have like a mismatched timeline in terms of like where they're going with this. Cause like I can see Matt Ryan, he was decent last year, but he's definitely like on the downward slope of his career, I would say. I think we can all agree that. And I feel like he got traded to the AFC, right? The Colts are in the AFC, so it's like they're going up against all these teams. I just feel like Baker Mayfield was out there. We'll talk about this in a bit because I don't know if all our viewers saw, but Deshaun Watson got traded to the Browns, so now Baker Mayfield's up for grabs. I know Baker Mayfield has had his ups and downs, but at least he's got they could have.
Baker Mayfield's going to cost you at least one first-round pick, probably two. I think. My view is like Matt Ryan is, in my opinion, their best quarterback since Andrew Luck. Honestly, I don't think it's close, and I think they went from Carson Wentz to Matt Ryan and netted a second-round pick in the process. So I think they got an upgrade at the quarterback position and added a free second-round pick, which is a really valuable pick, obviously. Right? Matt Ryan went for a third. Khalil Mack went for, these are very valuable picks, and I think if you can take home a second-round pick and upgrade at the most important position, not only talent-wise but also leadership-wise, Matt Ryan's a guy who's been to the Super Bowl. He's had success. He's been on a team for a long time. Carson Wentz was apparently an absentee leader entirely.
Yeah. I mean, to clarify, I'm not. I don't.
Wrong that way. He's not their quarterback of the future. He's not. Yeah. Baker Mayfield maybe is, although I think you'd be hard pressed to tell me how this Colts team with Baker Mayfield is going to be better than the Browns team with Baker Mayfield. I think they're remarkably comparable teams, and if it didn't work for them, I don't know why it's going to work for Indy. And so I think you get a guy who you know is going to be good enough for now, and you get a second-round pick to add into your team at a rookie-scale contract. I think it's a great move.
It's definitely like when you lay it all out there like that, it's a business net win.
Yeah,
I totally get the Colts getting that as well, because it's not exciting by any means, and it. It's like the Commanders. They get a new guy, and it's just like the same quality of team, basically. And I would take Matt Ryan over Carson Wentz, any day of the week. But they are in like a very similar tier, I'll say, in terms of like the role that they played, especially this last year with Matt Ryan on the like decline of his career.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't think Matt Ryan loses you games. I think Carson Wentz occasionally loses you games. And I think the reason that people pay for Carson Wentz is because he's young. He has the draft pedigree. Head coaches look at him and fantasize about, he could be our franchise quarterback in the next 6 to 10 years. And then it doesn't work out.
Yeah.
1, 2, probably 3 times now. You look at Matt Ryan and you say, hey, this is a guy who is going to be good enough. He's a game manager. He can still make those throws. He's a Jimmy Garoppolo caliber quarterback, I'd say right now, just older. And he's going to come in, and as long as we don't make him win us games, he's not going to lose us games.
But he's also not going to win those games. Like, he has a reputation of at least with the Falcons of getting an early lead and losing it by the end of the game.
I mean,
Carson Wentz,
Super Bowl
right,
loss
exactly.
Patriots.
But yeah, that's obviously the most hyperbolic example of that. But it happened over and over and over again. And Carson Wentz, I think he's going to put some plays together, and he's also going to lose you some games. But Matt Ryan also just might not win you those games.
But Matt Ryan also had multiple seasons where he leads the league in passing. And yes, he's past his prime. but he's not like the Colts don't need Aaron Rodgers. Like, would they like Aaron Rodgers? Of course, every team would have liked it. Every team would have liked a Deshaun Watson caliber on the field player. But the Colts have, as you said, a top 5 running offense. They have an above average defense that could certainly come out and all of a sudden be a top 5 defense. I mean, that happens, and they are certainly a candidate for that. They've got some great pieces. They got good draft capital. They've got, DeForest Buckner on the D-line. They have Darius Leonard and that linebacker. They have a lot of those pieces. And I mean, if they had Matt Ryan last year, 100% they go to the playoffs. Do they win the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
No, probably not. But 100% they go to the playoffs.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
No, I mean, I agree with that. It was a good deal. Like, that's why I'm saying, like, what Jeremy said, from a business perspective, like, I don't disagree with it at all. I just feel like they lost out on the Super Bowl, or not the Super Bowl, the QB sweepstakes. And that's just really difficult because they have such a good team outside of their quarterback position. They didn't get Deshaun Watson. They're like, I agree Baker Mayfield has question marks, but he took a Browns team to the first playoff win in like 30 years in franchise history. And you have him for a while, and you can have him grow with like these other, Kyle Pitt and
would you rather if you're in their position and you say let's say you can get Baker Mayfield for a first round pick. I think he's going to be more expensive than that. But let's say you can get him for your first round pick. And you say, I can have Baker Mayfield for a first round pick, or I can have Matt Ryan for a third.
I don't know if the Browns have that much leverage. Maybe they do. I just feel like teams are looking at their situation like they need to unload him, and so someone's got to take him. I mean,
if Carson Wentz gets you a second and a third, how does Baker Mayfield and maybe another second? There's actually a conditional pick in there. They could end up with 2 seconds and a third. How does Baker Mayfield not get you a first?
Yeah, no, you should. I agree with that.
Yeah.
I think, and
I think I would still do it.
You would still do...
I think I would give up a first-round pick. I think so, because I just feel like it's such a low probability of scoring in the draft to get like a good quarterback, like a first-round pick first-round pick, like you said, doesn't guarantee you get a good quarterback at all.
And they're probably not going to. Their pick is 20-ish, but you can get great players at every other position with that pick. Are you going to get a great quarterback? Almost definitely not.
But then they're back to square one is the only issue. They're just
that's true.
I guess that's it.
I feel like I don't like Baker Mayfield. Like, I think he's too inconsistent. He talks the talk and doesn't walk the walk.
Totally.
And because of that, I feel biased. But I can totally see, and so the situation you put out there, like, to me, like, I lean towards Matt Ryan in that scenario. But I can totally see the different perspective if I don't lean into those biases of getting someone like Baker Mayfield to build your team around for the foreseeable future, like what Cole's getting at. Like, you have Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman, Nyheim Hines, like you have these young pieces that if you throw a quarterback in there, that they all can develop together, and you got the next 5, 6, maybe more seasons to build around that. Like, I can totally see that being this long-term investment that revitalizes the team and the viewership. That's certainly more exciting.
There's precedent for that. I think the best example is probably the comp that Baker Mayfield got from the draft. It's Drew Brees, who went to the Chargers for a few years before he was traded to the Saints.
Yeah.
And then ended up having a Hall of Fame career as the best quarterback in franchise history, won a Super Bowl, everything. And there's a lot to like about the Colts team. I mean, I think Michael Pittman and Jonathan Taylor, Naeem Hines are good players. I think what's really remarkable about the offense is that offensive line that is just like just a just an absolute pile of heaping hulks of men that I think you can't lose. I mean, I think Jonathan Taylor thinks a really good player. I don't think you can lose running behind that offensive line.
Oh yeah.
And so I think there's a lot to like. I think it's absolutely would have been a possibility with Baker Mayfield, and maybe it still is somewhere else. I think maybe that's a question. Yeah. Where else would that be? Maybe Carolina. Maybe.
Yeah, where's Baker going?
I know the loser in all this is we always talk about the loser in all these trades. It's definitely Baker Mayfield, man. He has. And that is, I mean, there is like a question marks around his confidence and, more of just the mental side of it. He just has been slighted in the past few months by the Browns, and then the Colts are basically, because he came out even before the Browns got Deshaun Watson, he came out and said he would like to get traded to the Colts. And then the Browns got Deshaun Watson, and then now today the Colts are like, no, we're going to go with 36-year-old Matt Ryan instead. So Baker Mayfield, that is like, I feel I agree with you, Jeremy. He has shot himself in the foot. He's one of those players who came out of college, number one pick, and just like, which is good in some respects, to just own it, come out like I'm the man, like I'm Joe Burrow, basically. Like that's who he was hoping to be, and he just was.
I'm feeling dangerous. That was his quote, right? I woke up feeling dangerous.
And to be fair, he did get them to a playoff win, and that's something. But it's been
an accomplishment on that team. But look, I think if there's anybody in the league that I think can take that kind of slight and use it as fuel, as a chip on their shoulder, Baker Mayfield's one of those guys. I mean, he is Aaron Rodgers petty. He wants to come out and prove all these people wrong. I think whoever he ends up, he's probably going to have career games against the Browns every season.
Yeah, or he's going to talk a bunch of shit and throw like 2 picks a game.
I know, it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell if it's just he is that guy because he's telling us he's that guy, or because there will be games like where, like even last season, the Browns come out and almost beat the Chiefs in the first game of the season. That was a great game, and he looked really good. And then the season just went to shit. I mean, granted, like he was apparently hurt. There's mixed reporting on how hurt he was. I think he might have to have shoulder surgery, but part of it is like every quarterback, every NFL player at the tail end of the season is hurt in some way, shape, or form, and it's either you're on the field and you're playing, or you're not on the field and you're injured. And he was on the field and he was playing, so we have to just base it off how he played on the field at the end of the season, and it was bad. It was really bad.
Yeah, look at OBJ's production while he's on the Browns versus when he's on the Rams. Like, I think that is an indictment of Baker Mayfield.
Look at Jarvis Landry. They just released Jarvis Landry.
I know that there's, like, team dynamics and some, like, they didn't like each other or whatever. But, like, you have a talent in OBJ on the field, and he had, like, 1 touchdown with the Browns this season before getting traded or something like that. And within a couple games, he had like 8 with the Rams. Something like it. To me, that's an indictment of Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, that's fair. I think he probably ends up with Carolina or with Pittsburgh. I think they're both great options for him. I think Carolina has a lot to offer as a young team, and Pittsburgh has probably the best coaching staff in football. And some great receivers.
Yeah.
And we'll see how he does. I do think, I would say that we started off the saying by you think the biggest loser in this is Baker Mayfield. I think the biggest loser in this is the 49ers, who I think came into this offseason with Jimmy Garoppolo as a very in-demand trade chip as somebody who's been on deep playoff runs, who's
Yeah.
not going to lose games. He's one of the best game managers in all of football. He's a great veteran leader. And there's all these QB-needy teams, all these teams that need this upgraded quarterback. And one by one, we've seen all of those holes fill except for the Panthers and the Steelers now. And so every time I see one of these guys move, a Deshaun Watson, a Matt Ryan, people that we weren't really sure if they were even going to be available this offseason, that's just one more team not bidding on Garoppolo.
Yeah, true.
So,
and I don't even know about the Saints. I mean, do the Saints stick with Jameis Winston? Like,
that's true. Maybe they see Baker Mayfield as their next Drew Brees, and they can
maybe. I mean,
one reckless QB for another.
If you had to take over under on whether Baker Mayfield is just going to turn into like another Carson Wentz type player, what would you guys say?
I think he sticks somewhere. I don't think he bounces around. I think he sticks somewhere. Yeah, I think he's good enough somewhere.
I'm on the other side of that.
I agree. Yeah.
I think he doesn't. I don't think he achieves that consistency, and he's too volatile of an asset. I think he bounces around.
And he's hurt. He's hurt a significant amount, and that was kind of Carson Wentz was great until he tore his ACL or something. That
ACL, yeah.
That MVP season, and then it's just like. Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting. We'll see. We'll see what I'm interested to see where he ends up and then what his attitude is going forward. Whether it's going to humble him or it's going to make that chip on his shoulder even bigger.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I'd rather have Baker Mayfield than Carson Wentz on my team 10 times out of 10.
Baker Mayfield? You'd rather have Baker Mayfield?
Carson Wentz 10 times out of 10.
I don't know.
Last thing I'll ask you guys before maybe we just talk baseball briefly, is Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
Probably going to have a suspension here. And last time we were on, we talked about all of the non-football issues with what's going on here. So we don't have to, and we won't just dive into that again. But before his suspension, one of the best quarterbacks in football, definitely one of the best young quarterbacks in football, has been a revelation for the Texans.
Yeah.
Out of season, has had some injuries, mostly the suspension, a lot going on. When he comes back, now the Browns just not only did they pay 3 first-round picks for this guy and a historic draft haul for them, they also then signed him to the biggest guaranteed contract in NFL history by about double. $280 million.
30.
Fully guaranteed.
230.
Fully guaranteed. 230, thank you.
But yeah.
Fully guaranteed.
Yeah.
No, but I don't know the nuance of this, but I did see something that because his last year base salary was $1 million, if he gets suspended again, it comes out of that salary, not
so
his
he has
new contract.
He wasn't suspended. The Texans just didn't play him because they didn't.
Next year's contract, his base salary is $1 million, and he gets a $44-ish million signing bonus. So he gets the signing bonus no matter what.
Yeah.
If he's suspended next season, which there's a decent chance he will be, he loses $1 million off of his 230.
Yeah.
Now, my thing is, when he comes back, and he might not play the next season at all, maybe he plays part of it, so he might be gone for 2 seasons, maybe 1.5. Who knows? There's been all of this mental stuff. The quarterback is such a psychological position in football. Does he come back and he's still that guy? He's still this world beater? Or does it sound like the most Browns thing in the world that you draft a quarterback number 1 overall, dump him, trade 3 first-round picks for a guy coming off of a massive sexual assault charge, give him the largest guaranteed contract in league history just for him to be not that great?
Well, I got a question. Who's he throwing the ball to? That's the big question.
I agree with that.
David and Njoku.
Amari Cooper, right? They got Amari Cooper.
Amari Cooper. They got Amari Cooper.
Yeah, okay. Good call.
Yeah, but Amari Cooper, Amari Cooper is inconsistent, and on most teams...
We just talked about how he's overrated.
And on most teams, he's probably second or third option, honest. On a good offensive team, he's probably second or third option.
I think to answer your question, Matt, I think typically I would lean to say that, a talent like Deshaun Watson is likely still that talented and is going to show up and show out. But because it's the Browns, and you made this very eloquent case that the Browns just keep browning, I bet you're on to something. I bet somehow and totally falls apart. And there's this group of Browns fans that had this hope in Baker Mayfield carrying their franchise that now are left with just jack.
Well, so on Twitter, Browns fans are basically protesting. I mean, because before they got Deshaun Watson, they picked up Kareem Hunt, who was videotaped dragging a girl by the hair and kicking her in a hotel lobby. So he was on the Chiefs at that point because he had gotten drafted by the Chiefs. And then
Cleveland native Kareem Hunt, real hometown hero.
And then the Chiefs were like, we don't want this guy on our team. They just release him, and then of course the Browns pick him up. And then now they have Deshaun Watson. And then I don't know if you guys read the statement that the Browns put out, the Browns front office put out, and they're just like, oh, we thoroughly we take these concerns very seriously, blah blah blah. We just such gibberish.
No,
such gibberish.
Yeah.
We did our due diligence. We investigate. We talked to him, and apparently they didn't even they didn't even talk to.
Yeah, he said it's fine.
Yeah, no, they didn't even talk to the attorney of the lawsuit for the 22 women or whatever. So they obviously just bullshitted, and so I think what happens.
Right? What is that guy going to tell you that you don't already know?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. 22 women have accused him of sexual misconduct.
True.
And they've all said the same story.
Yeah.
They're all masseuses and physical therapists who have alleged the same thing.
Well, yeah.
You already know this. You're already making this decision. All they needed to hear before leveraging their future for this guy and taking this risk was no criminal charges.
Yeah.
That's all they needed.
Yeah.
Oh, this guy's not going to jail. We'll be fine.
Yeah, no, and I it's just such a disheartening situation, especially with the unprecedented contract. Everyone thought, Mahomes or Lamar Jackson or one of these players who are as good but also just not a shitty person would get get this, get a contract like that. And it's Deshaun Watson. But yeah, I could see that happening. I could see what I think is more likely to happen. I think Deshaun Watson will be good. I don't think they ever make it to a Super Bowl, but they'll just be in contention in the playoffs. But they just quite never put it together because they're the Browns. If
that's the case, I think it's a win for them.
Yeah.
If they actually become perennial playoff team, I think it's worth it. I'm skeptical.
Yeah, because they're not that.
Well, they haven't
they
haven't gone to the playoffs for 2 years in a row in half a century.
Yeah.
So I think if you do that, that's a win for you. By the way, I think this does to some degree reset the quarterback market. I think we start to see more larger guarantees in contract.
1,000%.
We talked about Kyler Murray. We talked about Lamar Jackson. I think their injury issues might get in the way of those, but maybe not.
Yeah, no, and then Aaron Rodgers making $50 million a year or whatever. Yeah, so
from a guarantees perspective, I mean, it's just this is NBA style contract, unprecedented.
Yeah, no, it makes Mahomes' deal look really bad because Mahomes was basically 12 years. And none of it's guaranteed. There's the Chiefs have all the outs in the contract, and Mahomes has no outs. So if he gets majorly injured and falls off a cliff, literally and figuratively, he's not getting any of that money and he's screwed.
Yeah, it was a classic NFL contract, right?
Yeah.
Like this was a great contract when he signed it.
True.
It's just like that's how NFL contracts have always been signed. And Kirk Cousins really should be credited with being the first guy to make this move. When he went to the Vikings, he started getting these 3-year fully guaranteed contracts, which hadn't been seen before. And now Deshaun Watson has taken it to another. I don't know who Deshaun Watson's agent is.
I don't know.
But that guy should be hired by everybody else playing football. Because Deshaun Watson has to be one of the highest risk candidates in all of football, and he's the guy that got the 5-year guaranteed contract.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
not really.
Yeah, it's a tough situation. I mean, the Browns are going to be probably good. I think probably they'll be pretty good. Make the playoffs. I'm interested to see though what the pushback is from this move. I just think we're living in a different time. And it's getting less and less easy for NFL teams to just like pick up these sexual offenders or these
character guys, as the Raiders would put it.
Yeah, exactly. These character guys who just had a moment, and I think
22, just 22 moments.
Yeah, no, I think in this climate, I don't know. I'll be interested to see. Then again, if they start winning the Browns, I'm sure Browns fans, it'll just be like,
they won't care.
Like, like memory erased, like Men in Black,
100%.
So yeah, that's tough. We're already over 30 minutes, so we won't be able to talk about
last
baseball.
thing before we sign off here. There's a lot of Browns fans out there at the dinner table trying to explain to their wife why this is okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot
such a
of men in Cleveland trying to explain to their wife why they're now Deshaun Watson fans.
It recalls the League episode where Pete is trying to play Michael Vick, and the girl that he's dating sees that he's playing Michael Vick. He's like, you can't play him. He's an awful person. He's like, it's a game. Like, I got to pick the best guy. And who did he have on his bench that she was okay with him playing was Ben Roethlisberger.
Oh, no. Yeah, no, I did see some meme of before I think Deshaun Watson getting traded, it was like a meme that said like, this is what Deshaun Watson would look like on the Steelers, and it was just a picture of Ben Roethlisberger.
Ben Roethlisberger.
So funny. So yeah, it's tough. Like this, NFL is they're a tough one to love. So we'll see what happens. I hope there's some sort of pushback. At least, like, if he gets, I think he needs to get suspended. I don't think they're going to suspend him. I think they will suspend him. I don't think they're going to suspend him for the whole season. I think they'll just suspend him for like 7 or 8 games.
I think it's going to, unfortunately, I lean towards the side of I think it's going to blow over, and it's not going to be as big of a deal as it certainly could be. And maybe there's a short suspension in the beginning, but as soon as he starts playing, and if Deshaun Watson gets a couple wins under his belt, it's going to be a conversation piece of the past. And that's unfortunate, but I think given the precedent that the NFL has set, I'm not hopeful, which is a bummer, but I'm not.
Yeah, no.
I think it'll be a heavy suspension, but when he comes back, whenever that is, whether it's week 12 or week 1 of next year or what that is, it's all just I think you're right. It's all going to come down to whether or not he wins football games. And if he doesn't win football games, he's going to be absolutely crucified, and the Browns will be absolutely crucified.
Yeah.
As they should be. If he wins games, I think you're right. The people are. It will never go away, right? I mean, we saw Kobe Bryant died recently, and it came up again, right? The assault case against him. So I don't think that stuff at this point. I think you're right. I don't think that stuff in this day and age goes away anymore. But it will become, one line in the article.
Yeah. I mean that's just how it is. You're good at if you're good at sports. I mean, even as much as we talk about the NBA being a little bit better, it's similar things have happened and on all these different leagues, baseball as well. It's kind of just like, are you good at the sport? And can you leverage yourself like Deshaun Watson did, basically saying you told Baker to hit the hit.
Historically speaking, if whatever they're in trouble for isn't on video, the NFL has let it brush over pretty quickly.
Oh yeah.
Anytime you can see the footage, the NFL takes action, right? If they don't, they just sort of let it slide.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it'll be tough, but hopefully this something. So he's got to feel the sting a little bit, and he is. I mean, there's a civil suit out there still. So hopefully he just loses a lot of that money that he's about to get, which I think is deserved. We don't want to talk about it too much, but next time we can tell. Next time we're gonna get to baseball. We promise.
We're gonna say that every week.
Dude, I know.
We're gonna talk about when we're getting to baseball.
No, we have baseball arguments to have. We've had them offline.
We had them offline, but they're mostly just like comparing baseball to the leagues that we like, the sports we do know. So
we gotta get a guest star in here to talk about baseball.
Yeah, I actually do have someone. He works for the Mariners. Like, he's a low level in the Mariners front office, so he could talk about some of this stuff. The problem is I want us to know like if we're talking to him, we need to have some back and forth. So we're gonna do our research and we're gonna learn. We're gonna learn. So that'll wrap up this episode. It's a short one, but we'll be back maybe this weekend. Look out for that. You can catch this episode and all our others on YouTube. Dads_sportball_ is it? I think it's show. But it'll be linked on our Twitter, and you guys need to post on Facebook too. We need to get the word out there.
Absolutely.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
See ya.